These are your week 1 college football highlights, and as a disclaimer, I am recording this earlier in the day, Saturday. We have some games that are done, but unfortunately I have to move, so I got to get this done and out. So we're going to talk about some of the games that are already done and complete. There are some games to come, and let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's start with Georgia-Clemson. 34-3 win for Georgia. Completely dominant. Pulled away in the second half. Easy for Georgia. They did their job. Pulled away. No problem. Clemson, they have issues, and it's not looking good for Dabo. We know that before this game, Clemson was no longer in the top tier of college football programs. That's been clear for a couple seasons now. But a 31-point loss is the last thing you want if you're Dabo Swinney. This is not like a 34-21 loss where you kind of hung around in there, but you just played a better team, the number 1 ranked team in the country, and you're like, well, what do you want us to do? We lost by 13 to number 1 ranked Georgia. That was not the case here. This is a 30-point L, and it doesn't feel like it's a talent issue. The 24/7 Sports talent composite rankings has Clemson ranked 5th. So it's just got to be a coaching thing. And we know that Dabo Swinney is reluctant, it feels like, to change along with college football. But man, if a 31-point loss doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. Florida-Miami, 41-17, dominating win for Miami. Let's start with the quarterback play. Cam Ward, big game, threw for 385, 3 touchdowns, had a pick. Graham Mertz threw for 91 yards. That right there will just tell you everything you need to know. We'll get into Billy Napier in a second, but Graham Mertz is just not the guy. Was not the guy at Wisconsin, is not the guy at Florida. He's not going to help you win games. So Billy Napier's job is certainly in question. He's on the hot seat. There's no way around it. And let's just look at their schedule, because Florida does have the toughest schedule in the country. If we're going off of the current AP poll week 1 rankings, these are all the ranked teams that they're going to play. And we're going to start with, obviously, we know Miami was ranked. They'll play Texas A&M. They're ranked. And then let's look at the last 5 games of the regular season for Florida. They played Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State in that order. So they're screwed. And I would be shocked if Billy Napier is still the head coach at the end of the season. As for Miami, if they can put up 40 points a week, and if Cam Ward can continue with this production, this is a Miami team that should be making an actual run to win the conference. Let's talk Penn State, West Virginia. Some people have been high on West Virginia going into this year, maybe a little too high as we've seen. Penn State looked good. Drew Aller looked good, looked much improved as a quarterback. Efficient day, good day on the ground from Nick Singleton, had over 100 yards rushing. This is the 3rd year for Drew Aller and 3rd year for some of these highly ranked guys. So this is the year where things should really start to click. If there was ever a year for Penn State to be a contender, it wasn't last year. That was a year too early. This is the year. And especially when you throw in the 12-team playoff, the 12-team playoff wouldn't benefit any other program more in recent years than Penn State. So let's talk Ohio State. They blew out Akron today, pulled away in the second half. Sloppy to start, maybe a little too excited. Just, things weren't clicking. Offensive line was kind of shaky. It got a little bit better as the game went on, but this was a concern and just a problem last year. The offensive line was a weak spot for Ohio State. Did not look good this week, so we'll see how that plays out moving forward. But Will Howard is a clear upgrade at quarterback over Kyle McCord. Statistically, Will Howard's numbers from today's game versus Akron don't blow you away, but he had no turnovers. He had 3 passing touchdowns. He was making guys miss in the pocket. He was making throws on the run. He was picking up first down with his legs. He is a clear upgrade over Kyle McCord, and it's not even close. Jeremiah Smith, we got to talk about him for a couple minutes, because that guy is generational. He is as advertised. He started, first of all, had nearly 100 yards receiving and had 2 receiving touchdowns. It's crazy to say this, but Ohio State's not going to miss Marvin Harrison Jr. because they have Jeremiah Smith. And it's nuts that Jeremiah Smith even earned that start in that Ohio State wide receiver room. It's still a really good receiver room with a lot of talent, a lot of 5-star talent. And Jeremiah Smith was the go-to guy for Will Howard. So like I said, I'm recording this earlier in the day than I would normally like to. Notre Dame and Texas A&M play later tonight. Oregon, Michigan, Alabama, they all play later. By the time you're seeing this, these games are probably done. And then tomorrow, Sunday, we get USC and LSU. So there's a lot of football left to be played here in week 1.